Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 93 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on December 21st, 2021. Man, it's literally Christmas week. And because of that, I am condensing my typical publication schedule. So in addition to this episode, there's a PEW Science sound signature review. It's being published concurrently with this episode. That's right. So if you are listening to this on the West Coast prior to 0700 Central Time on Wednesday the 22nd, the links aren't available. Because, I anticipate, after I get done recording this, I need to do some publication work for the website. I need to do some coding. So I'm gonna record this. I'm gonna package this up, schedule it to auto post, and then I'm gonna go back and into the website coding and get the article finished. So I'm kind of multitasking right now. Okay, so basically this podcast is gonna be published in the middle of the night, by the robots, And so then that way, if you're listening to this early, go back to bed, come back at 0700 Central, and you'll have some fresh data. Yeah. To make things like this possible, this regularly scheduled podcast that I do for you, I have some help. And part of that help is from Silencer Shop. The J Situation Podcast is proudly sponsored by Silencer Shop, the most efficient and intelligent way to purchase silencers. It is. Mostly. As a silencer consumer, they are my infrastructure of choice, frankly. I like the way they do stuff. There's a reason they've grown. They continue to innovate. You use their kiosk. The fingerprints and photos are done electronically. They go in there. They're encrypted. It cuts down on your paperwork errors. It simplifies your silencer purchasing process, frankly. Okay, you get a money-back guarantee. There's no transfer fees. It's just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. It is. Good folks there. It's always fun to see how the industry evolves as different technological advancements and methods rear their heads. For example, the eForm 4 effort with the ATF, slight delay. I think the recent email from them said let's push back a couple days. We'll see how that pans out. Should know pretty soon. So that's exciting. And secondly, this podcast is also sponsored by PEW Science, pushing the silencer industry forward one test at a time. PEW Science is my company. I am the owner and technical director of PEW Science, and I have chosen to sponsor my podcast. It's fine. Visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating, the simplest and most accurate hearing safe ratings for your suppressed small arms. The ratings you see on pewscience.com are based on true human sound perception, okay? And the suppression rating is in section 5 of the Silencer Sound Standard on the website. The standard walks you through gunshot noise, sort of like Wikipedia, but more fun, because it's about our favorite topic, guns. There are 7 parts to the standard. They're all on pewscience.com for you to read. And if you haven't seen it, or frankly, it scares you because there's so much of it, that's fine. Skip directly to the suppression rating in section 5. It is, if you've never seen it, it is a good place to start. If you go to section 5 there, if you don't want to read the whole thing, section 5 lets you know how silencers stack up in comparison to one another with regard to the sound at the muzzle and the shooter's ear. That is the essence of the suppression rating, okay? It's tied to a hearing-safe dose limit for the particular platforms on which the silencers are tested. Directly tied to human perception. If the rating is higher, if the big number there is higher, it's going to sound better. If it's lower, it's going to sound louder. That's all there is to it. And it's comparable across all platforms. You can take all of the data. It's all summarized in a simple table in section 7, the ranking section. All those suppression rating numbers in that table that's sortable, they're all comparable to one another. No matter what the weapon, no matter what the silencer, the numbers are all on the same scale. It takes into account inner ear response. So any subjectivity, it's all taken out. It's all about how far it pushes your ear. How much damage is it doing? That's what the suppression rating does. So you can use the numbers together, okay? And if you would like more data about each silencer review, if you see something in the table you like after sorting through it, there's links in the table there to take you back to section 6 with all the reviews, okay? So go wild, all right? And as always, if you are a manufacturer and you would like to use PEW Science for private testing and consulting services, there's a form on the website with which you can submit that inquiry. Yeah, I had a wonderful conversation today with a new PEW Science client. I'm getting them more and more now. It's really neat. And we're going to do some exciting testing, and I have a feeling you'll get some data from it. So how cool is that? Okay? Anytime you guys contact me, any of you manufacturers, your contact information and all test data is held in strict confidence, okay? Unless, of course, you want to release it to the public, in which case I can definitely help you do that. It's something that I do. You can support this podcast, PEW Science, and all the testing I do by joining with a membership at pewscience.com if you like. And, if you don't want to do that recurring thing, there's a donate feature. You can click the donate button on several of the pages there on pewscience.com. Every little bit helps. You can give a little bit, give a lot of bit, or give nothing. That's perfectly fine. And, something, if you don't want to help at all monetarily, you can certainly spread the word. That's free for you to do. And you can even rate the podcast, go to your podcast provider there, iTunes or things like that. And I heard that Spotify is going to start letting folks rate podcasts. So if you have Spotify and that's an option for you, it would be nice to have your feedback. I greatly appreciate it. The goal of this, as we, promote this podcast and the information contained within its walls, the goal is to normalize suppressed small arms for the general populace. The more we learn about them together, even if we make mistakes, we'll do it together. Okay? If we learn together, we succeed together. Imagine a world with suppressed small arms in every home. I like that world. Okay. I have 3 topics for you today. I do. Oh, excuse me. I have 3 topics for you today. Topic 1. Drum roll. Sound signature review 661. The Q Trash Panda on the Mark 18. This is the early 5.56 data that is launching with this podcast today. That's right. So we'll talk about that. Maybe I hope you're listening to this when it's already released, because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, and you're going to go to the website. It's not going to be there yet because you're an early riser. You're ahead of the game, and sometimes that's just not the best place to be. Okay. Topic 2: do silencers increase muzzle velocity? They can a little bit. They can a little bit. Let's talk about why and how. And let's also talk about why you might want to be careful when you watch YouTube, because sometimes you're going to get information that's not true. Yeah. And then topic 3, the best Christmas gift of all is the support that PEW Science members bring to this effort. It is amazing. It's true grassroots support. We are all in your debt for it. We are in your debt. Also, PEW Science dealers send cool silencers to test. Like the new Sig SLX stuff. I just got 2 of those from a dealer. Can you believe that? It's on like Donkey Kong, my friends. Okay, so we'll go into that. All right. Let's get into topic 1 at a time of 9 minutes and 24 seconds. Yeah, let's do this. Man, topic 1, sound signature review 661, the Q Trash Panda on the Mark 18. Early 5.56 data. All right, I'm giving you another 30 caliber silencer on the 5.56. Let's get crazy. Yeah. Why not? I was going to say I'm on vacation right now, guys. Technically, I'm on vacation. I took vacation. I took some vacation from my job, and I was like, okay, the proximity of this podcast that I do for you this Wednesday, like I like to release these podcasts on Wednesday. The proximity of it is so close to Christmas. And there's a plane flying by right now. Just 1 second. Okay, guys, I'm back. Man, at first I thought it was a plane, but it sounded really weird, and it was like going on for a long time. It didn't sound like a normal plane. I wonder if it was an alien. Maybe it was Santa. Yeah, maybe it was Santa. It could have been Santa, frankly. I've seen stranger things this week. I mean, guys, seriously, the silencer industry it's not okay. It's not okay. Trust me. You don't even want to know. No, okay, but what I was trying to say before that alien craft passed by, I was thinking, gosh, this is so close to Christmas. It's probably a good idea for me just to release this podcast and the data simultaneously. Just because I have a lot of things to do, you have a lot of things to do. Let's just knock it out. Let's just do it. Let's go a 2 for 1. I don't like to do it because it makes me insane, but since I was on vacation, I was like, I can push this. I can buckle down and not sleep. Who needs sleep? I'll sleep later on the vacation. So I figured, why not? Why not circle all the way back to one of the first silencers ever publicly evaluated by PEW Science? The Q Trash Panda. That's right. For those of you who have been around since the beginning, back when there were, back in the before times, back when there were I guess there were a few companies that publicly came out in support of this that frankly no longer want anything to do with PEW Science, and that list grows by the day. I just found out about another one this evening that really doesn't like me. That's fine. In the before times, there was Sound Signature Review 6.4. Yeah, that was the Trash Panda on Supersonic 308. Old school PEW Science for you there. Old school PEW Science. That's review 6.4. Trash Panda on 308. A lot has been tested and analyzed and evaluated since that review. That review was actually, and I'm just going to go look at it. What's the quickest way for me to do that? I know what it is. Well, I can search because I'm on the website right now. I'll just type in the Google search. Boom. Should be really fast. It is. Boom, boom, boom. Scroll down. Oh. Click it. April 30th, 2020. Okay. Yeah. So review 6.4 with the Q Trash Panda, and this one happened to be on a Remington 700 308. There's a lot of reasons for that. We can talk about that later, but it's basically equivalent to the Savage. That Trash Panda review was published in April of 2020. I launched the Silencer Sound Standard in March of 2020. So basically, this Trash Panda review was done like right as I launched this stuff. That was the 4th public article from PEW Science, the 4th one. And today I'm going to be talking about the 61st article. That was the 4th, guys. In first quarter 2020. So that since then, there's been a lot, and so that gives you an idea how long the Trash Panda data has proliferated, like worldwide. Like, if you haven't seen the Trash Panda data on 308, well, you're the only one. No, I mean not to be hyperbolic, but it's been everywhere. And if there was an issue with it, we would have known by now. You feel me? And you feel like where this is going right now? Like why I'm saying that? Like, if there were an issue with the Trash Panda data on 308, you would have known by now. It is December of 2021. The Trash Panda data has been live since April of 2020. You know how many people have seen that page in the world? Not in the country, in the world? A lot. You know how many people have had a chance to shoot the Trash Panda on a Supersonic 308 with a 20-inch barrel and then compare it to other silencers? a non-trivial amount of people worldwide. Okay? So I just wanted to give you a flavor for the proliferation and the pedigree of what I'm doing here at PEW Science. Okay, this stuff isn't just a flash in the pan, and it doesn't go into oh yeah, there used to be a YouTube video on no. This is in the Silencer Sound Standard, SSS.6.4, Silencer Sound Standard, Section 6, Subsection 4, the Q Trash Panda and the Remington 700-308. That was back in April. So today, in December 2021, you have the same silencer, the same one, but testing on the 5.56 Mark 18. Okay, same silencer, Mark 18. So there has been a lot of speculation, conjecture, really guessing, and frankly, I'll just say it, extremely vocal discussion about how the Trash Panda performs. I mean, it's a popular silencer, and people love to talk about it. They love it. Is it the most efficient rifle cartridge silencer? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We learned that in the 7.62 NATO dataset. We learned in the totality, in the holistic totality of the 7.62 NATO dataset to date, we have learned that the Trash Panda is not the most efficient rifle cartridge silencer. There are so many 308 bolt action reviews on pewscience.com that we have literally hit almost every type of silencer created. I haven't tested every one, but I'd venture to guess the majority of types have been tested with regard to rifles. Like there's some missing types for sure, but like there's a lot, dude. There's a big smattering, right? So you have a really good general idea. Part of that stems from the fact that a lot of them are copies of each other. There's so many copies of copies of copies that some of them, it's crazy. They change a little bit here and there, but you kind of see when things are really different, don't you? So we understand how silencers like the Trash Panda, with its simple straight cones, perform. At least when subjected to high pressure for long duration. Okay. Inefficiency creeps in. We've seen it. It's pressure stagnation. We've talked about it. Boundary layers form, and the main jet starts to slide over high pressure pockets because you can't trap enough gas. Okay, so it gets loud. That's what we know about these slant cone, the straight cone baffle designs. That we know this just from our study, from our holistic study. So what happens when you give the Trash Panda high pressure, but you do it for a shorter amount of time? What happens when you drop the combustion duration? And you make the jet smaller too. What happens when you do that? What happens when you go from 308 to 5.56? What happens when you put 5.56 through Trash Panda? What happens? Does it behave like a 308? I'm here to tell you yes and no. Okay, there are some similar things, but some things are not similar. And the things that overwhelm the Trash Panda on 308 aren't nearly as severe on 5.56. Okay, 5.56 by 45, it's kind of like 300 Blackout. It's an intermediate rifle cartridge, isn't it? It's not a full-size rifle cartridge like 308 is. And as you will see, designs like that in the Trash Panda, the internal design, those simple straight cones, those do better when you don't have high pressure, like through the entire duration. That is, like if you take the high pressure and you cut the tail end off of it, it doesn't get overwhelmed. It survives. as they say. I mean, it's a strange word to pick, but I'm trying to illustrate this verbally to you. The Trash Panda can handle a smaller jet for a short amount of time. It can. It doesn't get overwhelmed as easily with a short duration combustion event like 5.56 is compared with 308. It's a different type of load. Okay, it's a different demand case. So I'm gonna, and I've done this type of thing before, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go let you read the review. Go check it out. Review 661. It's on the website. If you're listening to this and you're not a time traveler, it's on the website. Okay, unless you're listening to this early. We're gonna do something similar to what we did with the Rugged Razor 5.56 data when I release that in conjunction with the podcast. Okay, I'm gonna let you go read it. I'm gonna let you go read this Trash Panda 5.56 data, and then you can come back, and on the next episode, I'll go into the technical discussion. Okay. I find it's a lot better to discuss the silencer's technical performance after you've had a chance to check out the article. Okay, too much for you to digest right now. It's too much. I don't want to overload your brain. I don't want to stress you out. I want it to be enjoyable. I don't want you to feel pressured. I just want you to relax. That's all I want. Okay, it's the holidays. I don't want to stress you out. You got enough stress from family and stuff like that. It's like no. You need to relax. You look at data. Okay, so crack open a tasty beverage. Check out the data. There's some wild stuff. Spoiler alert. There is a reason we don't use silencers like the Trash Panda on short barrel 5.56. You can see why in the data. You'll see. And that's and I'm just talking about. Look, this isn't. I'm not even talking about heat damage to the system. I'm not even talking about that. I'm only talking about the gas dynamics we see in the data. I'm not talking about the fact you could possibly destroy the silencer. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about look at the data. Look what you see. You're going to see something that's weird. You're going to see weird stuff. You're going to be like, what is that? I'm like, well, I'll tell you what it is. I explain in the article. Okay, so go check out the data. Share it everywhere. Let it go forth and multiply. Like always. Surely the manufacturer will use the data to better understand their products, right? I mean, why would a manufacturer not use the data to help them understand the things they're selling? It's free to them. They can go to the website and look at it. It's free analysis, free consulting. It's right there. What other possible thing could happen? Your guess is as good as mine. I'm optimistic. I don't see how this could possibly go wrong. How could this possibly go wrong? Okay. Kill me. Topic 2 at a time of 23 minutes. 16 seconds. Oh, seriously though, it's going to give me a stroke one of these days. Topic 2. Do silencers increase muzzle velocity? You know they can a little bit. They can. A little bit. But I want to talk about why, and I want to talk about how. And I really, really, really just in general want you guys to be careful when you go to the YouTubes. And in general, not only YouTube, but I guess be careful where you go. Let me get a drink of water here. It's a dangerous world out there on the internet. You never know what you're going to run across. Good Lord. I don't know if many of you saw, but recently, this apparently famous former military guy, I guess, he's well known to the gun community, but not to me. I don't really know who this guy is. He said in a very widely proliferated video that a Mark 18, the rifle that you've been seeing from PEW Science lately in the reviews, just showed you the Q Trash Panda data on it today. He said that the Mark 18 with a 10.3 inch barrel. That's what the Mark 18 is. He said the Mark 18 will achieve the muzzle velocity of a 14-inch barrel AR if you put a silencer on the Mark 18. Like he's saying, if you put a silencer on the 10.3, it makes the velocity increase just like if you had a 14-inch AR. Yeah, and he went on to say that it's caused by back pressure or something like that. That's what he said. He said you can watch. I'm sure you can find this video. It won't be hard to find. Because the reason I know he said that was because like 100 people sent it to me on social media. I got clips of this video taking up storage space on my phone. Okay, and like I didn't even go to YouTube to watch this thing. I didn't have to. I have people screen captured or downloaded clips of it, and they sent them to me, dude, like DM, like a lot of people. I got a pretty strict policy of not watching YouTube videos sent to me by people on social media. Like if you send me a YouTube video, like I might watch it, but it's gonna be a special case. Like I'm usually not going to open it. Like I don't have. It's usually rage inducing is why I don't open YouTube. Like there's like a reason there's a reason I don't really actively have a YouTube channel for PEW Science, because that is a bad place, man. And so, someone sent me that clip so I could watch it expediently. So I opened it. I was like, okay, watched it. And then I listened to the guy. I was like, interesting, okay. And then I was like, that's not right. I listened to what the guy said. I was like, ordinarily it wouldn't that be that big a deal. Just some guy saying something stupid on the internet. I'm like, oh, whatever, But then like this was like apparently like a really like popular thing where like 500,000 people are watching this stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. So I figured I wanted to speak with you about it on the podcast, because I don't want you folks who are looking at this Mark 18 data that I'm publishing thinking you can just take one of these tested configurations in section 6 of the silencer sound standard, like any one of these silencers I've tested on the Mark 18. I don't want you guys to think you can take these silencers, put them on the Mark 18 like tested, and then get the muzzle velocity you're going to get out of a 14-inch AR. Okay, the Mark 18 is a 10.3-inch barrel, guys. 10.3. If you go to a 14-inch barrel, you're increasing the barrel length by almost 40%. Understand? Like if you go, let's think about that. 10 inches. Okay. 14 inches is 4 more than 10. What's 4 out of 10? 40%. Okay, this is not complex math. This is just a judgment call. If you go from 10.3 to 14, you're almost going to 40% increase in length of barrel. Almost. Give or take, okay? That's a lot of increase in length. And to let you know why that matters a lot for a gun, let me explain how guns work. I'll get some more water. I just ate the best pad thai. It's like this. It's our new go-to Thai place. Oh, it's so good. Oh my gosh, it's just I don't even look at the old Thai place I used to go to, and that's how you know something's good. Like when your new Thai food place just makes you not even want to think about the name of the old one, and you liked your old one. That's when you know the new place is like off the chain. Anyway, really had great pad thai. Yeah. So let me tell you how guns work. So when you fire a gun, the expanding propellant gases behind the bullet shove it into the rifling in the barrel, right? That's how it starts. So when that happens, the bullet's forced to spin, right? As it travels down the bore. Those gases that are pushing it, they keep expanding. And the bullet keeps accelerating. It's being pushed, all right? It's being pushed by the expansion of propellant gases. That's how bullets get through barrels, okay? There's an explosion pushing the bullet through the barrel. Now, this explosion, it continues to push the bullet all the way until it reaches the muzzle. It pushes it all the way to the front. Yeah. And then when when that bullet gets to the muzzle, there's an event. And the ballisticians, the ballistic people, they refer to that as uncorking. Okay, that's when the propellant gases are completely free to exit the bore, unencumbered by the bullet. They can just we're free, and the propellant gases say, oh, we get to go outside. And they're dancing, and they're going, and they're jetting. They're going outside. Now, I have said this on the podcast before. There is some leakage around the bullet even before the bullet reaches the end of the barrel. Okay, there is, and actually it does some crazy stuff. Sometimes that leakage can get in front of the bullet. It can cause additional flash on a gun. I mean, it can get complicated. But I don't want to get too far down that. But the main thing I want you to focus on right now is that the bullet leaves the barrel and gas is pushing it. Okay, and that gas it's still coming out as the bullet has just left the muzzle. That gas is coming out. Okay, the gas is pushing the bullet. The bullet gets pushed out of that muzzle, and there's gas behind it still pushing. There is. And let me tell you something about that. There's a phenomenon that happens right outside of a gun barrel. It happens really quickly, but it does happen, and it's real. There's a distance right outside of the muzzle. There's a small region, okay? Let's call it the special zone, the special place. There's this region. It's a region over which there is still momentum transfer of propellant gases or whatever media is pushing the projectile, like water. Use water. You can do this with water. If you were to do this with water, which you totally could, I've done it actually, not with small arms, but larger things. I've used water for this. Those of us who do things like this, we have. You don't have to use a gas. You can use any type of fluid, really, if you're so inclined. So there is a region. There is a region over which there is still momentum transfer of the media, the pressurization media, to keep pushing the projectile, to keep imparting momentum. There's a region where it's still pushing. Even after the projectile's out of the barrel, it still gets pushed for a little while. There's a region. It's a defined region. It's a finite region. And I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm going to tell you a secret about that special place. I'm not going to tell you the whole secret. I'm just going to tell you part of it. We actually know the distance, roughly, as a function of the jet diameter, roughly. It's a known quantity. We've learned it through empirical data gathering, experimentation, testing. Not in this field, not in small arms necessarily, but in my profession we have learned it, and not in PEW Science, not PEW Science. It's outside small arms. So we know for how long a distance that projectile keeps getting pushed after it leaves the barrel. Roughly, we know this. We know there's numbers to it, that we put numbers to it, and the only reason a projectile moves is because there's momentum transferred into it from expanding gases. That's the only reason. It's pushed. Okay? It's not thrown through the barrel. It's pushed through the barrel. Okay? And it doesn't stop getting pushed until a certain distance outside the muzzle. It just doesn't. It doesn't stop getting pushed until a certain distance outside the muzzle. Then it stops getting pushed. Okay? Now, what happens when you change the conditions right outside the muzzle? What happens when you put a silencer on the gun? Well, you might, and it depends. Depending on the muzzle device and the silencer, you might confine the event. Excuse me. This is what I get for eating pad thai right before I do the podcast. 1 second, drink some more water here. And I ate all of it too. I didn't just, oh yeah, maybe I should just eat a little pad thai. Yeah, that'll happen. Yeah, let me just eat part of my food. Yeah, so like self-control exists or something. Yeah, so like, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the muzzle device. Yeah, if you're putting a silencer on the gun, depending on that silencer, depending on the type of muzzle device, you might confine the event post uncorking. Yeah, you might confine it. In fact, you could actually make the barrel slightly longer, right? What if you had a muzzle device that had a little bit larger internal diameter than the barrel, just a little bit, but it was like a few inches long? What if you had like a 4-inch long muzzle device? But it was like, it's almost the same size as the barrel inside. And could that create confinement of gas behind the bullet as it left and result in a longer push distance? Would that be a barrel extension? Yeah, it could be if you made such a thing, right? But that's not what silencer muzzle devices do, because that's not what they are. That's not what a silencer muzzle device is. If you've ever held one in your hand, if you ever held a silencer in your hand, if you've ever seen a flash hider, you would know that that's not what that is. That's not what that is. They're flash hiders. They're muzzle brakes that were a little, maybe get a little direct thread mount. They don't add that much of a confinement to the jet pushing the bullet. They're not that long. They don't have an orifice that's long. I mean, I have like 6 or 7 on my desk right here in front of me. I got a 3-prong. Okay, looking at that orifice. Okay, goes into there, and then it doesn't confines it for a little bit. All right, here's a rugged R3. Okay, looking through there, it's not definitely less than an inch of orifice. Okay, what about this? That KG one from the previous review? No. Okay. Oh, here's a cherry bomb. Looking at the cherry bomb. Cherry bomb seems to have little vents in it. It's compensators, a muzzle brake. Okay. Here's a OSS. Similar thing there. Seems to vent pretty fast. Here's a Thunder Beast mount. Yeah, seems like it might confine it for a little. Oh, that's a 338 mount. That's so big. Here's another Thunder Beast mount. Yeah, so it confines. Yeah, it's a little bit longer confinement than some of the others. Okay, maybe half an inch, quarter inch or so. So that's a small sample size I just looked at. So really, you're going to lose confinement, aren't you? Your bullet has left the barrel. It's getting pushed for a little bit. Even if you didn't have a muzzle device, it's still being pushed for a little while after it leaves the barrel. We know that. There's a distance. We know it. It's not huge, but it's a finite distance, and it's pretty small. But we know there is one. So maybe you extend it for a little while longer with one of these flash hiders or whatever. Okay, that's cool. But what happens when you lose confinement? What happens when that jet loses confinement? Well, you lose the push, don't you? You lose the push. So, can we quantify that? Well, we know how far outside a barrel we can get extra push after the bullet leaves. And we know how long a confined muzzle device orifice is. So if you wanted to, you could calculate how much added barrel length you get from a muzzle device and how much extra push from that distance, which, we know. Well, you don't know the distance, but I'm using the term we as like the collective we. We know it. You don't know it. We know it. So if you do that, you will find that the increase in fictitious barrel length is not very long. I just do the calc, dude, if you want. And the firearm designers that are listening to this, and you might even know some equations, just do the calc, dude. Imagine, just give yourself some slop and pick a barrel length extension that you think results from a muzzle brake blast confinement, dude. Just do that. And then pick a number of like a certain number of diameters away from the muzzle that you think it'll still push at free bore. Okay, so-called free bore. So after uncorking, do that. Calc it out. Run a calc or two. Now, let's change it up. Let's make it more complicated. You put a silencer on that thing. Put the silencer on the muzzle device. Not just the muzzle device, but a muzzle device with a silencer on it. Okay? That bullet gets in that silencer. It's going to travel through that silencer. The gas is still getting confined. That's a no-brainer. We know the gas is getting confined, but it's not confined nearly as much as it is inside the barrel. We're expanding into the silencer, guys. Like literally the first chamber is the blast chamber, the expansion chamber. It's literally an expansion chamber. We're literally expanding gas. So what happens when we do that? We're going to lose velocity. What happens when you do that? Well, you're going to lose momentum transfer too, because you're not confining the jet against the bullet anymore. Bullets move from momentum transfer. Okay, and so as a result, the velocity increase from the actual silencer, it's just not that much, guys. It's just not that much. It's not efficient enough. It's not a barrel extension. It's a silencer. You're expanding. The whole purpose of a silencer is to expand gas into a cavity so that you can slow its movement, to cool it, to make it quieter when it hits atmosphere. It's the antithesis of added push distance. If you wanted to make a silencer add velocity, you would not be efficient at suppressing its signature. No. You would not, would you? Would you? You would be doing the opposite of what a silencer does. The opposite of what a silencer does. Let's put numbers to it now. Get some water. Put numbers to it. So you're going, and this is not, you don't even have to listen to me, dude. You can turn this off right now, but I implore you, search for the terms I'm about to say. Because just okay, maybe don't turn it off yet. Hear me out, and if you don't believe me, I want you to go research this on your own, and you'll find that I'm right. You're at best gonna get like 10 to 20 to 50 feet per second. I mean, if you're extremely lucky, increase out of a silencer, like give or take, with a rifle barrel. That's being really generous. I mean, it could be more or less, but it's on the order of tens of feet per second, guys. Like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Double-digit numbers, guys. Double-digit numbers. When you talk about how many digits there are in a number, you call that an order of magnitude, right? So like the number 10 or like the number 30 or the number 50, they're all the same order of magnitude because they both have two digits. 10, 30, and 50. I mean, I know they're different numbers and some are bigger than the others, but they're all the same order of magnitude. Like, I'm not trying to be patronizing. I'm just trying to, like, some people don't know some people hear the phrase order of magnitude and they don't know what it means. So I'm telling you what it means. So this guy on YouTube, he said you could get the same velocity increase from a silencer on the Mark 18 as you would if you went to a 14-inch. So he was like, you get a 10.3-inch barrel. He said you put a silencer on it, you get the same velocity as a 14-inch. That's what he said. So he was saying a 40% increase in push distance, right? That's what I said earlier. So 40% increase in push distance confined within the barrel. That's what he's saying. So he said, so what he really said by saying that, he's saying that it's the same as if you put your Trash Panda on the Mark 18. He said it's the same as if you're shooting a 14-inch AR. That's what he said. That's what he said. That's what he said. That's what he said. And so, because everyone knows everyone who understands rifle ballistics knows that's impossible. It doesn't make sense. And you know what? There's a guy on Instagram today. He has his Instagram account. It's called Drukas Bobkins. He's a meme guy, meme page. One of the meme page guys there. Shooter. He's actually a pretty good shooter. This meme page guy, and he tested this with a chronograph today. Today he did. He messaged me. He's one of the guys. He is one of the guys who sent me this video, and there were a lot. He's one of the guys, and he started talking to me about how he was going to test it. I was like, "That's awesome. Test it, and when you test it, tag me in what you post because I want to see that." And he did. He did the test with the chronograph, and he tested a 10.5. He didn't have a 10.3, but he tested a 10.5, a 10.5 inch, okay, and a 13.9. He didn't have a 14 either, but he had a 13.9. So he had a 10.5 and a 13.9. It's on the order of what that guy in the video said, right? So to let you know what he discovered, the 13.9 inch gun, so the 14 inch gun unsuppressed had a greater velocity than the 10.5 inch gun unsuppressed by like over 250 feet per second. It was like 260 feet per second faster because it was 13.9 versus 10.5. Let's do that math. Hold on. Where's my calculator at? Oh, let me just end a sentence with a preposition like a savage. Sorry about that. Okay, hold on. Sometimes I go full redneck. 13.9 minus 10.5. Okay, 3.4 divided by 10.5. 32.4%. So, in this guy's test, with a 32.4% increase in barrel length, he got a 260 feet per second increase in velocity. Okay. Cool. Non-trivial, really. It's actually quite a bit of velocity increase. So then the guy put a silencer on the 10.5, and that delta between the two systems shrunk to like 245, meaning that now there was less of a difference because he had the silencer. The silencer increased velocity. It did. The silencer increased velocity, the 10.5, but less than 20 feet per second increase on average. It's right in line what I said earlier when I told you it was like 10 to 20 to 50 order of magnitude increase. Yeah, this guy just tested it. It was 20. It was around 20. It was less than 20. Less than 20 feet per second increase by adding the silencer. The guy on YouTube said 260, not 20. He said 260. So the experiment showed you 20. The guy on YouTube said 260. I mean, he didn't use the word 260, but he implied it because he said that it would be the same. It's not. It's not the same. It's not. The 260 and 20 are an order of magnitude different, and that's why I said that earlier to you. I wanted you to understand what that meant when I was gonna say order of magnitude, and I wanted you to understand what order of magnitude means. It's not that the answer is a little bit different. Like, oh, Jay, you're just being hypercritical, or you're just no. This isn't a little. It's not a little bit different, dude. It's not slightly different. It's not within some kind of margin of error. It's an order of magnitude different, dude. And this is a 10.5 and a 13.9. This isn't 10.3 and 14. That's almost half an inch more difference that he could have been responsible for. What if it's going to go over 300 feet per second? Gap in velocity for unsuppressed. Really, I mean, if you what was a 14.5 and a 10.3? Even more. Okay, so this is an order of magnitude off. This guy on YouTube was an order of magnitude wrong. He wasn't a little bit wrong. He wasn't slightly wrong. He was completely wrong to the point where it's like it's like a false statement that would make people change a weapon choice, because that video is eventually going to have over 500,000 or more views, dude. I think earlier today someone told me it had over 300 something thousand. It's got to have over 500,000 at this point. So over 500,000 people will soon have heard that nonsense about the Mark 18, and that you can turn a Mark 18 into a 14-inch gun just by putting a silencer on it, dude. That's what they're going to think. 500,000 people. You know how hard I've worked to give you information that's real to help you, and how much time I put into this, the reviews, the podcast, the effort and the time. I'm answering your questions personally on Instagram and email and the website comments and telephone calls from manufacturers, and this podcast every week over and over. This is the 93rd episode, 93, like almost 100. It's over 100 hours of me, way over 100 hours of me speaking with you about this. I've done that. And now this one video, this guy says something stupid, and now 500,000 people see what he says and they run with it. Imagine the damage that could have been done or is done. Imagine the damage from that. Okay? So maybe eventually many more people will hear this topic on this podcast, and they will see the Mark 18 articles on pewscience.com. And then we'll win the war against ignorance and false information regarding firearms, small arms. Maybe we'll get enough information out here to where we educate responsibly, and people can choose the weapons they want to use correctly with good information. Maybe someone wants a Mark 18, maybe they don't. But I'll tell you right now, you got to know what the weapon system does. And if you can't trust the information you're getting from someone regarding a simple velocity that's measurable by anyone with a chronograph, what else are they telling you can't trust? Credibility is earned. All right, one test at a time, guys. Come on. All right, topic 3. Topic 3 at a time of 52 minutes, 40 seconds. I'm so like flabbergasted that I even had to address that publicly. And you notice I didn't even mention that guy's name in the guy who said that on YouTube, because I didn't know really who he was before I saw the video. And frankly, now that I saw that video, I don't want to know. Because if he can say something like that, what else is he saying, Okay, topic 3, I mean, like, who knows? I mean, I'm sure the guy has other videos. I mean, be careful, man. Careful out there. I'm telling you, you guys are going to get taken advantage of. And people make mistakes, for sure. No one's perfect. I'm sure I've made tons of mistakes, and I'm sure I'm going to make more. So, anyway, topic 3. The best Christmas gift of all is the support that Pew Science members bring. The support they bring to the effort. This Pew Science, the grassroots support, we're in the debt of the members. We're in their debt. We owe them all. Okay? If you see one, thank one. I don't know how you identify yourselves, but if you do, just shake the high five. I don't know. Another thing I want to say, that the Pew Science dealers, the member dealers, the guys who, they're advanced members of Pew Science and they run gun shops and they tell their customers about good data. Some of them have the Silencer Sound Standard website on iPads in their shops near the silencer case. Those guys assaulted the earth, and they're sending silencers to me. And guess what? We just got the SLX stuff, the Sig stuff in. It's off the chain successful right now for the industry. This effort is serious, dude. We're wrapping up this year. PEW Science launched... Look, and I say PEW Science in the third person. I launched the Silencer Sound Standard in the first quarter of 2020. You know? We're closing the fourth quarter of 2021. I don't know. Do you guys remember when I launched that? You know who oh, and I'm not going to do it because it would be really messed up. It wouldn't be messed up. It would be petty. It would be petty if I mentioned to you who believed in it from the beginning and who was diametrically opposed to it and hostile toward it. And how some of that has continued and how some of it has changed both ways. It would be petty. So I'm not going to discuss that. But I'm going to tell you, I'll never forget. Ever. I don't forget things. I don't hold grudges, but I don't hold grudges. I'm not a grudge holder. I'm a reasonable person, and I believe in making amends, and I believe people make mistakes, but I'll never forget. And I hope you know that. Okay, it's very important. So we're closing the fourth quarter of 2021. It's very important that you understand that the support has been amazing. And again, some supporters have come and gone. That's fine. But the contingent that remains and is here is strong. It's growing. Okay? And I am in your debt. I'm in your debt for making this effort possible. Together, we're doing it. So, these SLH silencers, these Sig silencers, the ones that are supposed to reduce back pressure below that of unsuppressed guns, they're supposed to make the back pressure lower than unsuppressed guns. That's what they said. That's what Sig said. So they're claiming they accelerate the gas and pull vacuum on the barrel. Essentially, I don't know. I actually don't know what they're claiming technically. All I know is what they've said, and all I know is what their sales guys have said to me. It shows their marketing guys said on video on the internet, and what people are saying they've said to other people. So that's all I'm going. I'm not going off of any official engineering conclusion. I'm just going off of what their company representatives have told me personally and what I've seen on video. So that's what they've said. And I'm like, cool. I have like 100 people asking me about these things. Now I have 2 of them. I have the silencers they're by my foot. They're under my desk. I have to clean up. I have one of my tasks is some organization. I was pulling some of these out of inventory. I was auditing. It's fine. They're direct thread, and they're the taper. They're the Sig taper, 25-degree taper, 5/24. I have thread adapters to go from 1/2-28 to 5/24 taper, by the way, because I have CGS stuff, and CGS makes things like that. They make a lot of stuff that I used to test because CGS supports PEW Science. I know some people think, oh, Jay's biased. He likes CGS because they pay him money. Okay. Yeah, no, CGS supports PEW Science just like a lot of other silencer manufacturers and a lot of other entities. And also, they help the effort by giving some test apparatus so we can do this work for the good of mankind. And one of the things I have is a couple of thread adapters that are truncated. They go from 1/2-28 to 5/8-24, 25-degree. So I can take a Mark 18, for example, and I can put a direct thread taper 5/8-24 silencer on it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Don't even need a custom barrel. Boom. Does it add a little bit of length? Yeah, it does. Does that matter for testing? It can. Do I disclose in the articles? Absolutely. Everything's disclosed in the articles. So, what I'm trying to tell you is I can test these Sig SLH silencers on literally everything. Like it does. I'm not hampered by mount, is what I'm telling you. So the direct thread, I can, and what does that mean? What's the good thing about testing direct thread silencers with no muzzle device? Pure suppression characterization. That's right, friends. Oh, well, how does the muzzle device... No. Don't ask me about that. Let's figure out the silencers work. Then we can cross the bridge and figure out what the muzzle devices do. I don't have the clutch lock thing with me because I don't have a silencer that does it. Doesn't matter. Who cares? I don't care about the clutch lock until I find out what the silencer does. Then I'll care. Okay, because what else is using the clutch lock? Well, nothing else. It's only Sig silencers. So if you don't know how the silencers behave, who cares about the mount? It might be the best mount in the whole wide world. But until I know what these SLX, no, it's SLH. Yeah, the SLX is the one, I think that's quieter. The SLH is the one that flows, right? Is that right? Where's that Form 3? Form 3 fell down on my desk. No, 1 second. I'm going to pause this for a second. Let me get that form. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, no, I'm looking at the Form 3. These silencers, the SLH. Yeah, I was right. Okay. I just want to make sure I told you right. I was like, wait, what? Form 3s are pretty fast. Speaking of, let me see. This guy signed it on the 9th, and it was approved on the 15th. So it's through e-forms. So let me see. 9th to 15th. Okay. So that's like a little bit less than a calendar week that was approved. So that tells you how fast Form 3s are. I just like to say this to people who don't, consumers who aren't familiar with how ATF transfers work. Sometimes people say that Form 3s are delayed and blah, blah. It's like, not in my experience. In my experience, whenever I look at that date of when it's filed, and then I look at the date where it's approved, it's always around a week or less. That could change, but it's pretty close, dude. And I don't do a lot of Form 3s like a lot of people do, but I do enough to where, like, just if you're a consumer and someone tells you that they've been waiting on the Form 3 and they don't know what's going on and they might be telling you the truth, but they might have forgotten to send it. And when you can always ask them, be like, can you show me a copy of your Form 3? And then you can look at there's a box where, like, it is like digitally signed because it's in e-forms, and like next to the name of the authorized official there'll be a date, and then on the bottom right there'll be a date of like the approval from the ATF official, and the time between those two dates tells you the thing, tells you the answer. Okay, it's like you don't have to speculate; you just read. It's right there in the form. It's important to keep track of those things, I think. Sometimes, especially for business. Now, when I know how these silencers perform, you're going to know. Okay? I'm going to test them on everything, guys, these SLHs. I'm going to do it. I'm going to understand how they work. I'm going to understand what makes them tick. I'm going to test them and test them and test them and understand it. It's important to understand. It's also important to understand what the parameters we've developed tell us. Could it be helpful for our parametric evaluations? Could it help with the omega metric? Maybe. Or maybe the parameter will tell us everything instantly. Maybe it will be a validation case study. Maybe it will challenge us. Maybe it will challenge the nature of the very fabric of our assumptions. No, I'm being hyperbolic now. It's just a silencer. So there'll be a subject of an upcoming test series. I have a lot of things on deck for you. I do. I promise. I do. I listen to the community, and there's a lot on deck. After the holidays, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong, guys. There's a lot of stuff getting tested. I have to retest some things. As you guys know, I've spoken about this many times. Sometimes when I do data QA, I find things that are unacceptable for publication, and I have to retest just because of the quality standards. That's happened with a few tests, and some of it is due to mistakes I've made in the field. Some of it is due to things that just unforeseen circumstances beyond my control. Regardless, we persevere. We address issues as we discover them, and we continue with the effort. Okay, that's what hard work is. So, In the meantime, until that occurs, until I speak with you again, have a Merry Christmas, okay? Please. Spend it with people you love. This is the time for celebration, the most wonderful time of the year. I love it. You should love it. It's great. Be thankful for everything we've had over this past year. It's been a challenging year, but it's been a fruitful one. So stay warm. Stay safe. Go look at the new Trash Panda data. It should be here when you listen to this. It should. Okay? It should. Spread it far and wide. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, all right? I'll talk with you folks again soon.